once I started in, high school sports where you dressed up for game day, I always live by the motto, look good, feel good, play good. And there is a certain energy that your image and your wardrobe and your style really holds. When you're showing up for game day, I always view speaking as game day. I always say, look good, feel good, play good. And I show up as an athlete. How many of you were athletes in here? Athletes or dancers or singers, something of that nature. So, everyone, right? So, that's how you show up for speaking. Is it's game day. This is the real kicker is that you not only show up for game day, but you show up for game day every single day. Because if you don't have the opportunities yet that you're wanting, you have to start showing up right now as that person before you are her or before you are him. Hey everyone, welcome to the Tori Cruz Show, where we're shining a light on real conversations and transformational stories with some of the most dynamic entrepreneurs and faith-driven leaders you'll ever meet. I'm Tori Cruz, your host, entrepreneur, virtual stylist, and former Miss Missouri USA, ready to guide you along this exciting journey. This isn't just any podcast. It's your new home for stories that uplift, conversations that transform, and a community that feels like family. From the real challenges to the exhilarating moments of achievement, we cover it all, infused with adventure, laughter, insights, and heartfelt discussions. So settle in, make yourself comfortable, and let's get this show on the road. This is the Tori Cruz Show.
Tori Cruz, she is an entrepreneur, an author, a podcast host, and a highly sought after speaker. She is a former Miss Missouri USA. Tori has been featured on ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, E! Insider, and Cosmopolitan magazine. She is the founder and CEO of a globally recognized virtual wardrobe styling agency. Tori works with faith-driven entrepreneurs, creating personalized styles that align with their brand and mission, ensuring their image reflects what they stand for, attracts more opportunities, and allowing them to become the women they are called to be. When Tori is not out speaking at events, she's enjoying the outdoors in Scottsdale, Arizona, while always keeping faith and family at the center of it all. And I've had the opportunity to connect with Tori and to meet with her. We actually met at another really incredible event she has styled people from. And then we got to connect at a couple other events. And she is just as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. She is a firecracker. She is driven. She is amazing. She is a force to be reckoned with in a really, really good way. And she has such a gift for bringing out who you be on the inside and allowing that to be reflected in your style on the outside. So Tori, welcome. I'm so excited you're here and you can take it away, girlfriend. The stage is yours.
Oh my gosh, what an intro. Thank you, girl. Oh my gosh. It is such a blessing, number one, Charity, just to be here because it was actually your wardrobe. It was your presence that attracted me to you. And hello, everyone. By the way, I'm so excited to get to know you. I just want to obsess over Charity for a second here because the leader that you all have is literally the person who's going to take you from A to B to Z when it comes to speaking and leadership. And that's what being a speaker is, right? Like you're becoming the expert, you're becoming more of a leader. And Charity is that exact person who's going to help you get to that end point because that is literally the number one thing that attracted me to Charity when I saw her was her presence and her energy. And like, you're just the full package. And so I just want to honor you for a minute. And this is just such an incredible opportunity to speak into this group because number one, I love speakers. I feel like, styling's my jam, obviously, but like speaking, I feel like it's one of my greatest callings in life. And I love pouring into other speakers because that is a way that you can reach so many people with your hearts. And that's truly why I do what I do now is because each one of you are called to something higher, right? Like you're called to impact more people. You have a purpose in this life and in this world and the people around you. And it's a responsibility. It truly is. It's a responsibility to take ownership of that purpose, of that calling. And then that is why we do what we do. We do with styling because if you aren't getting noticed, if you're hiding behind your clothes right now, it's literally limiting your impact. And as a speaker, that is so important that you are being seen even when you're not on stage. Because oftentimes the time when you get noticed is actually not when you're speaking on stage. Charity, for instance, I wasn't speaking on stage when we became friends. We met each other at this event, but she noticed me and I noticed her for probably the same reason. Am I right, Charity? Like it was both because of the energy, the presence, the wardrobe, the style, and it all just goes hand in hand. And so that's why when I wasn't speaking on stage when she asked me to come here and speak to you all about this. So it's those moments that are behind the scenes moments when you're least expecting it is when your wardrobe and your style and your image is actually most important. And so I just want to share with you a little quick story when I was 5 years old. It started back when I was just a little tiny girl. At 5 years old, my grandparents ran a county fair in Indiana. And my mom dressed me to the nines for every single occasion. It doesn't matter if it was a birthday, if it was a country concert, if it was an event, my mom dressed me to the nines. And we were sitting front row there at this country concert. And the singer comes out on stage and she says, "Oh my gosh, you all wouldn't believe we have the cutest little girl sitting here front row dressed like a little cowgirl." And in that moment, she waved at me. She said, "Honey, why don't you come up here and sing with me?" And I was so bashful at the time that I hid behind my mom. And this singer came walking down off stage and sang me a song. And little did I know that Faith Hill in that moment would be singing me a song at 5 years old. And she recognized me because of how I was dressed. Now, in that moment, I was so young that I didn't actually realize that, oh, Faith Hill noticed me because of my little cowgirl boots and how I was dressed. But as I grew older, I started to realize there was this common theme and pattern because once I started in, high school sports where you dressed up for game day, I always lived by the motto, look good, feel good, play good. And there is a certain energy that your image and your wardrobe and your style really holds. When you're showing up for game day, I always view speaking as game day. I always say, look good, feel good, play good. And I show up as an athlete. How many of you were athletes in here? Athletes or dancers or singers, something of that nature. So everyone, right? So that's how you show up for speaking is it's game day. This is the real kicker is that you not only show up for game day, but you show up for game day every single day. Because if you don't have the opportunities yet that you're wanting, you have to start showing up right now as that person before you are her or before you are him. That was just molded in me since childhood. And then when I went on to college at the University of Iowa, I really saw this need for, individuals in the fashion industry. I went to the University of Iowa. So shocker, there was no fashion program at the University of Iowa. But I really developed a few friends through some organizations in the business school who were also like, I really want to get involved in fashion. So we ended up starting an organization and I ended up becoming president of the organization called Iowa Retail Association, where we partnered with other large retailers like Von Maur, it's a store very similar to Nordstrom. And I ended up developing their internship program for individuals in college to provide opportunities in the fashion industry for schools like Iowa where we didn't have anything. So ended up creating this opportunity and then moving on to after that competing more in pageantry in the state of Missouri. And when I started competing in pageantry, I really started to realize, just like you, Charity, it was like that moment where you really become your brand and you're a walking face for not only your personal brand, but you're also a walking brand for the state. And so just through a lot of mentorship and training, and I tell you what, you're in the right place with Charity's group here because you'll be at the biggest stages before you know it because you're in this program. But if you didn't invest in yourself and in this program and in the expertise that Charity already knows because she's there, she's been there, then you might have 10 more years. But that's the power of these groups. I get so pumped up about it because they literally have carved off years, mentorship and trainings have in my own personal life. And so in pageantry, I really learned the power of your personal brand. And has anybody heard of the Kansas City Chiefs by this point? I was training in pageantry. And then actually in 2018, I ended up winning the title of Miss Missouri USA. And during that reign, I had an appearance at the Kansas City Chiefs football game. And all of a sudden, I got invited to go to the owner's suite to go down on the field. And it was all of a sudden this feel of overwhelm that came over me was like, what in the world am I going to wear? Like, what do I wear to something like this when you're with the owners of the Chiefs, you're going down on the field, you're waving at halftime. It's like all eyes on you for the whole stadium. And it was just a lot of pressure. And then right before the game, we were to meet with a stylist. And I walked through the doors and I saw all of these clothes, boxes of shoes piled up, and the stylist standing right there. And I tell you what, in that moment, that cloud of overwhelm and fear of what are people going to think of me just completely lifted off because I had a stylist who was an expert show me exactly how I should show up for this event so I were to feel confident, I was not going to feel overwhelmed, but I was going to walk out there with the exact poise and confidence that I knew I wanted to exude as Miss Missouri. So in that moment, I realized how much impact that stylist had on my life. And it just fully empowered me to fully go into a career that was also uplifting, empowering women to feel more confident, to have that zest about them where it's not like I knew the qualities that I had inside of me, but I was not fully embracing them externally to attract the opportunities that I wanted to attract. So that was my turning point in my life where I realized, you know what? Your image does matter. And it takes 7 seconds for somebody to have a first impression of you. And those first impressions make so much difference. And so I want to kind of go around our virtual room here. If anybody wants to just like unmute themselves, I want to actually hear what industries you're in. What do you do? Like, if you're not speaking right now, if you're in this learning phase, what are you really passionate about speaking on? And if you don't want to, come off mute, put it in the chat. But I'd really love to hear from you guys.
Hi. Well, I have my baby here, but such a cute. I'm Andrina Gregg, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I love to encourage others to have healthy relationships, to become their best friend to themselves and then to other people. So I'm all about connection. That's why I connected with charity. And so that's what I love to do. I love to create environments where people can get together and create more healing space within themselves so they can connect in a better way to others. And I love all that you've been sharing. So powerful.
I love that. Thank you. So thank you so much for sharing. I have a quick question for you too. So when you're working on speaking engagements, like what kind of speaking are you wanting to do? Is it more retreat style, keynote? I feel like yours is a little bit intimate as well. So I'm curious on what type of speaking.
Yeah, I would love to start doing retreats next year. I'm gonna start with my first one. So I just put it out there. It's happening. It's
Yes.
happening next year. And the people are coming together. Anyways, so that's coming. Currently I run groups, like healing groups for women. So I'm a speaker now, but I want to do bigger audiences. I've been speaking at organizations. I've been speaking at schools with, parents and all that, groups of women. So I have experience working with bigger audiences, but I want to do it much more clarity and quality. That's why I'm here. I'm learning the art of it because there is an art. There's something, to learn here. I love speaking to women. So that would be kind of my niche. I love what you said. Just be ready to be like pulled out of the audience, in a way and be like, hey, I see you. I noticed you, not just because you look beautiful, but because you rested. There's something in you. I want to spend more time with you. I want to learn from you. So that's what happened when I met Charity. I saw her and I'm like, you're sharing something that attracts me to you and I want to learn from you.
I love that. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. All right. I think we had Shelby. What do you speak on currently, or ideally, what is your topic?
My topic is on communication and connection, and how developing a deeper connection with yourself and learning to communicate will improve your connections with others and make you a better leader.
I love that. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, yes. And then how do you say it? Andrina?
Andrina. Yeah.
Andrina. That's right.
Andrina. But my friends called me Andy.
So you started a radio station too. That's right. Wow. That's awesome. Okay. You guys are doing all the things. Amazing. Okay. And then somebody else, I think, put in the chat. Let's see. I'm an empowerment coach and podcaster. Oh, amazing. Chapter director for Palm Springs. Amazing. Cool. Okay. So we kind of have like all different areas, right? My next question is, where is it in your style right now? This is a very small, like intimate atmosphere. So I want to make sure that in our time that we have together, I could go off and tell you the importance of your style and your image. But what I really want to do is focus on like your specific needs. Like, where is it right now where you're thinking, maybe I do need to level up my style. I don't know. Or maybe you just went through a transition from maybe a career choice, baby. And you're like, okay, now how do I dress? So I want to hear from you guys. Like, what are some questions that you have that I can help you with personally? Because I guarantee if you have a question about something, somebody else in the group also has been wondering the same thing. So again, please unmute yourself, put in the chat, and I want to direct your exact questions with style.
Hey, I have a question. I've been trying to find a style, I guess, for who I'm becoming. I just get overwhelmed by every website and everything that's out there, and I'm not sure like where to focus my attention. Do you have any like brands that you typically go to or
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Heather, tell me what you do exactly.
I am currently a caregiver, so I don't dress very nicely, but God is leading me out from the back of the room.
Let's go. Yes, he is.
Yeah, it's scary, but I'm becoming something that I never thought that would be in my future.
I love that. Okay, number one, congratulations. And I hope you spend time honoring yourself for that move because it's a bold move where when you're used to being behind the scenes and you're breaking through and now you're going to be more in front and in the spotlight, that's a huge shift in your identity. So, congratulations. And I want to honor you for a second for that. That's incredible. Second, you might be in this transition period right now, but when you think of yourself, if you were to close your eyes and really imagine yourself in that person that you are becoming, when you walk through a room, like for, let's just say an event right now, like what are the feelings that you would want to feel when you show up into that room about yourself?
Beautiful and like stand out, I guess.
Okay. Is there anything else that comes to mind, whether it's like feminine, edgy, sporty, classy, fun?
Usually more feminine and style, a little bit sporty in most of my current.
Is that what you want to carry though to this next phase?
I don't really know yet.
So this is applicable to everybody who's on here. These are the steps that if you're uncertain about what your current style is right now and where you want to go, think number one, ask yourself, okay, and really truly close your eyes, put on some meditation music, whatever you have to do to like get in that zone of really embodying. If anybody's done any visualization exercises, it's the same concept, but with your style. And so really get in that zone of really embodying, okay, who is that woman that you are becoming or are already, but you want to show up as her externally as well? What are those feelings that you want to feel when you walk in the door? And like I just said, like confident, edgy, fun, sophisticated, sexy, bold, sparkly, Charity. I think every outfit that I have seen on Charity is sparkly. It's just like, it's bold, it's classy, it's elegant, right? So like, think of these words of like, how do you want to feel? How do you want to show up? And then the second question is that I would ask yourself is how do you want other people to perceive you? Because oftentimes we just go, we're looking at clothes and we're not really thinking about these questions, but clothes are a silent communicator and it's an energy exchange. And so how you're showing up, it's also silently communicating something to the person on the other end, right? So clothes are just so much more than just fashion. They really are silent communicators in their words, conveying to other people how dedicated you are to your career. It's an immediate respect factor. Think of those times when you've been to a meeting or you've been to an event and somebody shows up and they're a little bit more overdressed. You're like, wow, this person really put some effort. Like they really showed up. You immediately respect that person. And so, because that is your first impression, they look really put together. Every time you put a little bit of effort into something, it's an immediate respect factor and it shows that you're really dedicated to your job. And I always use the example of a professional athlete. Everybody knows Travis Kelce at this point. So if we're going to roll with Travis Kelce and stick with the Chiefs. So you have never seen Travis Kelce on game day show up without a little bit of swagger, right? He's coming off the bus and this is the same thing. It's going back to those days where you were competing in dance or cheer or sports. It's the same thing as a speaker, you guys. You got to show up like it's game day. And how professional athletes show up on game day is different than how they show up, when they're just practicing. But they show up on game day with a little bit different step to their image because it's just a respect factor. It's a dedication factor to the game. And also a little bit of an intimidation factor to the other team. And I always say you're trying to impress for an audience of one. But you know what the real truth is as well is that, your first impression is everything. Thanks for tuning in to the Tori Cruz Show. If today's episode inspired you, let's keep the momentum going. For our YouTube family, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're always in the loop with our latest episodes. And for our podcast listeners, your ratings and reviews are incredibly valuable. They help us reach more people and continue bringing inspiring stories your way. Remember, this isn't just a podcast, it's a growing community of family. Every like, share, and review helps us grow on our journey together, helping us to highlight more impactful stories. Until next time, keep being the light for yourself and others. See you on the next adventure.